talked about a couple times now, you've said like when you watch the film, you can kind of get a better look at some things. Now you've got a couple games under your belt, and particularly this last game. What are some things that you've noticed that you kind of starting to zero in on in terms of things that need to be, of improvement going forward?
Yeah, if I start with the positives, I like the buy-in that we're getting, the conceptual buy-in from the guys, and great effort overall throughout the Boston game. Defensively, making what we call the next winning play, always focusing on that instead of focusing on what might have gone wrong in the previous possession. That's a big thing for us. And then offensively, according to our metrics, it was the second fastest time over half court on average the whole season. So we were really able to play with a high pace and generate good opportunities. Unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of shooting luck in those, but the guys' willingness also to make passes to their teammates and share the ball, we had some very good sequences there of play. So there's a lot there, and we'll keep taking the steps forward.
Coach, right here in the middle, straight ahead. I know you guys never like to make any game too big, but tonight, given where Golden State is right behind you in the standings and the amount of time left in the season, what is, I guess a sense of urgency to make sure you get this one tonight?
Well, there's a very high sense of urgency, obviously. It's an important game for both teams, but in this type of situations, like, you don't want to make it bigger than it is. Like, the same things will still lead to the best possible result. It's like, on one hand, you got to trust the process, keep improving on those things, but understand there needs to be an urgency in every possession to deal with every possession like it's the last one, and not just in the fourth quarter. And I think already the Boston game was a great step forward in that regard. So I like the direction.
Will, and then sorry, Terry. Sorry, I skipped you.
Hey, Coach, I know when you start the game, you have a game plan. What factors goes into it? How do you start tinkering that game plan throughout the game? Will you wait till halftime to do that?
Good question. So it's about adjustments. Yeah. I don't remember right now which NBA coach, might have been Steve Clifford, who said a very smart thing maybe 10 years ago in the playoffs, who said, like, when do you make, like, a lot of times the adjustment is like that the other guy doesn't shoot as well. So we often underestimate the shooting luck in last game. Like, according to our metrics, our shot quality, for example, was 36% for three. We were expected to make 36. We made 25. That's one component of basketball that is like, when teams take a lot of threes these days, that causes the fluctuation also within, and why you see that 20-point swings, 20-point leads, they evaporate faster nowadays. It's a feature and not a bug. But what Steve Clifford, I think, said was that there's three things you got to watch out for. First, are we doing the thing we agreed to do? And that's the first step. Like, before making adjustments, let's see, okay, are we doing the actual thing we agreed to do? Are we doing it well enough? And are we doing it hard enough? And then if the answer to all of those is yes, then probably it's a good idea to change what we are doing. But most of the time when we look at the film, it's already the first one. Hey, we had agreed to do this, but we did something else. And that goes hand in hand in creating trust in each other. And trust is like a three-way street, in my opinion. It's like, you gotta have trust that you can do the job, you gotta have trust that your teammates will do the job, and then you gotta have trust in the coaching staff and the system that when we do these things that we've agreed, that will be enough to produce the win. And we are looking to build that collective confidence.
Will, and then Jonah.
Jaren's been such a consistent contributor for you guys this year. Just getting to see him up close, what's really stood out to you about his contributions on both sides of the court?
I mean, he's a unique guy and having an amazing season. And the thing about Jaren is, like, everybody is happy for him, because of who he is. He's just like, every day, an enormous pleasure to be around him. He takes everybody into consideration, has high levels of empathy, which he combines with competitiveness, which is not an easy thing to combine. He's a team guy, and like, he's still growing with his skill set, and he's already doing these things, and he wants to learn more and more, and just have nothing but positive things to say about Jaren. Just been a pleasure to get to know him, and a real honor to be able to coach him.
I think yesterday we were talking about kind of lineup flexibility, and tonight playing against a team that obviously likes to go small. How does that change, if at all, your approach to the lineups that you put out there?
Yeah, there's obviously the part where we want to find lineups that work for us, and then counter the lineups that the other team is doing, or counter rather their strengths maybe. And I think the previous 3 games, Golden State has been more chasing our matchups than we have been chasing theirs, and we are going game by game with our lineups. I think we have the big picture is very clear, but every team presents its unique challenges. Right here, it's the 3-point shooting, especially from led by Curry, but also other players on that team. And then also the team is a little bit different from the previous games because of Butler's importance and his role, and those will also play into the decisions that we make today.
Hey, Coach, Draymond Green just won Defensive Player of the Month. So when you watch him on film, as you look at it clinically, what sticks out to you?
I mean, we're talking about one of the highest basketball IQ defenders in the history of the game. His ability to put out fires, so to speak, is incredible. He has his court mapping is so high level that he can see the issues developing like way earlier than most players, and a lot of times just by moving into the right position, he can prevent those from even happening. You know, there used to be, I know we're on the wrong continent, but there used to be a great central defender for the Italian national team in soccer called Paolo Maldini, who had very little tackles. And this was considered like that he's not a great defender because of this. And his coaches said, yes, there are not very many tackles because he handles the problems already before they emerge. And I think Draymond is that type of player, but also his ability to disrupt, come off his own guy when he sees a danger and then create turnovers. He's a big reason why they lead the league in turnovers forced also. So just a complete defender, one of the most versatile defenders in league history, able to defend from 1 to 5, and very difficult to game plan against him offensively.
Last 2 to Michael Finley.
This is, I think, your first season here, but there's a lot of history between the Warriors and Grizzlies in recent years, and the players have sometimes expressed that. What have you learned since you've become a part of this organization about what this game typically means going against the Warriors?
Well, all of the games I've been a part of have been very intense, and you really notice that there's a history between the 2 teams, and that obviously plays a part in the emotions that go into the game. At the same time, I think when you look at the standings, you look at the importance of the game, you look at where both teams are, I think it's important, I would say, for both teams not to get caught up in those emotions, but do the things that lead to the best possible performance today, and that's what we are focused on.
Last question, Lane.
Tuomas, last night you mentioned, sort of in passing, Slam as being a big influence on you. We're having Slam night tonight. So I was just wondering, exactly how did Slam influence you growing up in Finland?
Well, I was actually a subscriber, so for a long time, and I read a lot of the articles. That was part why I learned to speak relatively good English for Finnish standards at an early age, and learned the slang from those magazines. And it was a generational experience, and something that was a huge part of my childhood. I had still, at 30, before we moved to Germany in 2016, I gave out 3 cardboard boxes full of old slams to some of the old junior players that I had coached, because I didn't want to take them with me. We were moving the whole family to Germany from Finland, and it created a bond between me and basketball, but also the enthusiasm for NBA, for the storylines in the NBA, and we were obviously avid followers of the NBA, and Slam just made it even that more colorful that experience. So I owe a lot to you and all the other guys who wrote great stories over there.
Thank you, Tuomas.
Thank you.